Thanks, Lauren. I am really excited to kick off the second day of Circularity 20. There were so many great conversations yesterday, and especially the ones surrounding the problems associated with plastic waste. And so I'm very honored to introduce Tenya Lestari, founder and executive director of Davies Clean Action, an Indonesian and youth NGO and community focusing on marine debris issues. So welcome, Tenya.
Hi.
So you're coming to us live from Bali in Indonesia. And so to kick off this conversation, can you just describe what are the issues around plastic pollution and waste management in Indonesia?
Yeah, as most people know that Indonesia is assumed as the second biggest polluter to the world of oceans. And we have suffered from a lot of waste that coming from overseas as well, because we have 17,000 small islands and also a big chunk of oceans that has a lot of marine debris issue if we're looking from abroad. But if we're looking from the commitment perspective, the government itself, we've already have some commitment on reducing the marine debris up until 70% by 2025. But in the reality, we still suffer a lot from specific types of marine debris, such as single-use plastics and also textiles, which we found a lot in our coastal area.
So you started Davies Clean Action. So just to kick this off, tell me a little bit about the mission of Davies Clean Action.
Yeah, Davies Clean Action started since 2015. We started as a community out of Davies, where we do cleanups in coastal area and also underwater. And when we're doing cleanups, we are trying to collect the data itself on what kind of waste that we found and how we can plan a specific and also an appropriate campaign. And then we do a lot of online and offline campaign, and we do free trainings and workshops for youth and coastal community in Indonesia and also in other Southeast Asia countries, where we are helped by more than 1,500 volunteers across Asia. And then we also do community development programs and collaboration with private sectors on doing extended producer responsibility together on making sure that the waste that coming to the oceans is getting decreased year by year. So we're working a lot on marine debris issue and also other ocean-related issue, such as climate actions and others.
So when did you start diving, and when did you first start noticing all the plastic in the ocean?
Well, I started my diving hobby since I was still in my elementary school. It was in 2003. Back then, it was really clean and clear. Like I used to live in one of the islands in northern part of Jakarta, our capital city. Then when I realized it when I was in a university student, I study environmental engineering, and then I learned a lot about waste management issue. Then I just realized that in my own islands, people tends to think that it's okay to dump their waste to the oceans because they will not see it again and they think it will be gone. At that point, I think that it's nothing that confused me anymore. When I dive, then I found a lot of trash year by year. So I think my pinpoint is when I am studying in my university degree, which is in 2015, the year that I started Davies Clean Action.
So, one thing that I think is really amazing, you said, 1,500 people involved in it. So how do you build that community? You were still in university when you started Davies Clean Action.
It still amazed me as well up until now because it was started as my own idea because like what I said before, I started to find like the gap between the theory that I learned in my classroom on university about how is the proper waste management system should be applied and what is the reality when I do scuba diving for my hobby from city to city in Indonesia or even other countries. At that point, I feel like there is no other NGOs that specifically have programs on coastal and small islands area on implementing a waste management system. At that point, I asked my professor on what should I do as an environmental engineer student, what can I do to help? And I was looking a lot for other NGOs to do a volunteering program such as like that, but I cannot find any that will help me on implementing a waste management system on my own island. And then I turned my idea into my research project for my final year. So at the last 2 years of my university student, I spent a lot of time to talk with other professors from other universities that I know from my friends. So I'm just like asking around about who should I talk to, who knows a lot better about the theory itself. At that time, I start to find my two are my seniors and also my friends from Davies. And the three of us started it as community. And then all of the sudden, when we started our first field activity, we have 100 people on board. And then we have media covering our activity because it is something unique because and then real actions. And at that point, people start coming. And then we have 500 people from Indonesia and Asia that has the same concern like ours.
Wow. And then I know that you also launched a campaign around straws and KFC. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so we started with data because when we do cleanups, we separated the waste and then we monitor like how many kilograms and pieces out of it. We got so frustrated when we found more than 900 pieces of straws in just one area. At that time, we think that when we try to do campaign on a local island only, the changes will not come like by tomorrow or the next month. We have like another 17,000 small islands and millions of people to change their behavior, right? So what do I do is we're trying to find food chain restaurants in Indonesia that can help us to escalate the message to every person in the Indonesia. So most of our community eats chicken, and it's one of the restaurants that has stores in every provinces. So we asked them to go to the beach with us to clean up and then to plan on what they can do out of it. And from there, they agree after 6 months of discussions with us, and then they're not using straws anymore, and they successfully reduced 91% out of their single-use plastic. And now more and more restaurants follow their path, and even one of our provinces formally banning plastic straw in Indonesia.
Wow, that is such a great accomplishment. So we've got a worldwide audience today, and I'm sure they have some questions. So I'm going to bring in Heather Clancy and see if we have any questions for Tanya. Heather.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to pop in here. Yeah. One question, and it builds on what you were just discussing, Tanya. Local businesses, you're working clearly with local businesses. What can the larger corporate brands here on this webcast with you, this event, how can they, what's the call to action for them? How can they assist your mission better?
Thank you. I think the most important is to innovate and innovate and make it more accessible. And what to innovate is simply two things. The first one is how the products can reduce the amount of waste that produce. For example, how their packaging is much more sustainable and produce a lot more sustainable and not waste, such as refillable package, but make it accessible because it is something that is more important for people. Don't make an innovation that cannot be bought by people who live not in the city. And the second innovation that needs to be done is the recycling and also the transportation technology, because most of the area that doesn't have a proper waste management system is located not in the big cities. So I believe most of the companies has a distribution network on every countries, on every rural area. They reach them with their products. You should also reach them on how to recycle their own waste and the products.
All right. So, Tanya, you've been leading this organization for 5 years. And so I'm just curious, looking forward, in 5 years from today, when we get back together or when I come visit you in Indonesia, what will have happened? How will we look at success for Divers Clean Action?
We're looking success is if we found a lot more people on board to be part of the solution itself, and it can be shown as more and more area has a proper waste management system. And other than that, we need to have more and more producers and also private sectors that can give the accessible alternative packaging rather than the single-use plastic waste that we found often today.
So we're coming near the end of our time, but just what do you have to say to other youth who are tuned in here who may feel like, oh, these problems are too big, I can't really make any impact? What's your advice to them?
Well, I started with 0 cents in my pocket. I was still in a university student back then, but look at me now. I mean, most of our activities are covered in media in my country or even international. That proves that small actions can lead to bigger success and a bigger impact as long as we are focused and also as long as we are aiming for a clear goal. So if we know what we're aiming and if we know that it is for the best and it is not something that going to pollute the environment, just do it. Just simply do it. And if we are good, if our goal is good, there will be a lot of ways and there will be a lot of people that would love to help us, and it will be easier for us to move forward up until now.
That is so exciting. So I have been talking with Tanya Lestari, the founder and executive director of Divers Clean Action. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Thank you for having me.